What was that, Mr. President? What did the CDC say about the fantasy news? Oh my god. It must flow. Welcome everyone to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host Daniel Green, and today, at the end of the episode, we will be getting into the financial breakdown of the Kickstarter that was recently happening here on the channel, because when charity's involved, I want to be completely transparent with the financials, so I will show you exactly where all the money went. But before then, let's go ahead and talk about the big old fantasy stories of the day. And I'll go ahead and get the quickie Sanderson news out of the way. Yes, he released a meme-type video on his YouTube channel that was quite fun in celebration of the release of his first secret project. I'm mainly covering this to let you all know, yes, I will be reviewing it soon here on the channel. I've just been told to wait for a box first that I will be unboxing in my review of the first secret project. So look forward to that. Next news. We got an update from Scott Lynch about the title of the next entry in the Gentleman B-Words, because YouTube is being ridiculous about swearing right now, sequence, and no, it's not the title of the next full-length entry in that series. That we've known for quite some time. That's The Thorn of Emberlane. This is the title of the first of the 3 Gentleman B-Words novellas Scott Lynch will be publishing through Subterranean Presses. He has noted in this specific blog post they are not required reading for the Gentleman B-Words sequence and are meant to be more of supplemental materials covering the journey from one side of the continent to the other with our surviving party up to this point. See how I kept that spoiler free? And these novellas will range between 15 to 25% the length of a full Gentleman B-Words book. God, I hate that YouTube is being like this. And that official title will be More Than Fools Fill Graves. And okay, I have to say I really do love that as a title. Not only does it have a sprinkling of alliteration, but it manages to have both fools and graves in there. Ah, damn! And if you would like to read a snippet from this novella, link, of course, in the description down below, as well as every other story we cover here. Wait, what do you ask? What's DanielBgreen.com? Oh, that's where you can pick up some Goblin merch that is currently on sale from now until the 17th of January, and then it's gone! After the 17th, you'll never be able to get your hands on this super comfy, cozy, disheveled Goblin hoodie, or a plot armor tee, not even a Spank Book Ones or a Goblin Mode tumbler! And the challenge remains. I will be sending every single person who purchases a piece of Goblin merch a cameo-style thank you video. So if you'd like to check it on out, just go to DanielBgreen.com and get yourself something that's both comfy and cozy, as well as stylish. Self-promo out of the way, DanielBgreen.com. Back to the news. Last minute fantasy news update and cut-in. It seems we have gotten an update for the Wizards of the Coast D&D OGL situation, because not only has it been covered by larger people in the YouTube space like Philip DeFranco and Moist Critical now, but also it has begun to get picked up in the mainstream media sphere. But that alone is not the update, because we have also seen community leaders like D&D Shorts posting a supposed leak that they are claiming to have verified from an employee over at Wizards of the Coast, who has said, "I'm sending this message because I fear for the health of a community I love, and I know what the leaders at Wizards of the Coast are looking at. They are briefly delaying the rollout of the OGL changes due to the backlash. Their decision is based entirely on the provable impact of their bottom line. Specifically, they are looking at DDB, Dungeons & Dragons Beyond subscriptions and cancellations, as it is the quickest financial data they currently have. They are hoping the community forgets, moves on, and they can still push this through." And it goes on to emphasize points about the mentality of the leadership over at Wizards of the Coast that, according to this claim, allegedly, they see their customers as nothing but obstacles between them and their money. Normally, I have a no leaks policy here. The only reason I am including something like this is I find absolutely none of this to be surprising whatsoever, not only because of big corporate America, but specifically the mentality and actions of Wizards of the Coast previously seen to this. Big old allegedly. All of this, though, is good to see. The bigger coverage, the larger backlash. But for me personally, in my own prediction of the outcome for this, not for the reasons people think. Because I believe Wizards of the Coast is more than willing to just wait people out and eventually roll out maybe a watered down version of the updated OGL, or just the complete update they want. Things like that happen quite frequently. But the best case, in my opinion, is that Wizards of the Coast has proven, even with attempting something like this, that they are not worth being being the figurehead of D&D or tabletop RPGs, the coveted position they've enjoyed for so long, anymore at all. And I think, yes, canceling your D&D and Beyond subscription is a great step to do in reaction to this scummy behavior. But personally for me, the end goal shouldn't be to try and correct behavior from a crappy company who has abused and treated fans like crap from multiple franchises they own, but instead to find and promote alternatives. There are a litany of amazing tabletop RPGs out there that have no affiliation with Wizards of the Coast, and whose systems I personally often find better. I'm going to have several listed here, and if you are someone who enjoys tabletop RPGs but has been loyal to the Wizards of the Coast owned systems, I highly recommend you at least give these a go, because I've been using several of these since college, and they're freaking great. And in a last-minute update to this last-minute cut-in, it seems that Wizards of the Coast has delayed, not canceled, as this headline might have you believe, the announcement of the new OGL. It could result in a cancellation, but that has not been guaranteed, though we know that the fan backlash is being heard because things like the subscription management page on D&D and Beyond have crashed, with many fans on Twitter spreading the idea that canceling a D&D Beyond subscription is the most direct and immediate feedback you can give Wizards of the Coast that you are not a fan of what they're attempting to do here. There also has been another side of this where I've seen some people claiming the original OGL was not a good thing, or that Wizards of the Coast is naturally doing this, which that does not seem to be the case, because if they weren't doing this, they probably would have responded by now, and we haven't had a response from them. But even if for some reason you don't consider the original OGL to be a good thing, it's more about the incredible overreaches that are in this new OGL that people are upset about. Details in our previous coverage. A positive outcome for me would be if they don't roll out the updated OGL and everything gets to return to normal. The best outcome, in my opinion, though, not only a massive amount of fans, but people who previously just promoted their systems for free by making content for it, migrate over to something else and begin promoting other systems so that we can have a more competitive tabletop RPG market overall. That is what I am pushing for at this point, because Wizards. I'm talking last-minute fantasy news update. It seems that Paizo, the company behind such systems as Pathfinder and Starfinder, has come forward and said they will be releasing their own version of the OGL for third-party developers that will be specifically irrevocable. That's right, they can't just decide to unofficial it. So while Wizards of the Coast has remained completely silent on the matter over the last week amidst all the backlash, one of their competitors has decided to step up. Transition to a piece of video game quickie news that I find kind of funny, and I'm only covering it because it is the most disliked in terms of percentages trailer for any game I have ever seen. And that is going to be for Avatar Generations, the mobile game. We got the first gameplay trailer look at this Avatar mobile game that we've talked about a couple different times here on the channel, and it looks bad. I'm not saying it looks bad because it's Avatar. Of course not. I like the franchise. I'm not saying it looks bad because it's a mobile game. I've been very impressed by what some mobile games can do in 2023. I am saying it looks bad because the game looks like shit. This looks like a game that would come out for the iPhone in 2012, and it's so clearly just a soulless attempt to milk money out of a franchise. It's like they're not even trying anymore. Nothing about this at all feels like an actual passion project from fans who wanted to make a game that other fans would really enjoy, and instead it just feels like a generic mobile game that's been made a million times before, just purely reskinned to be Avatar, in a hope that enough fans out there will go ahead and buy into it just because Avatar, that they'll make their money back and then some through all of these mobile bonus purchases. So yes, I also won't be playing that game, but mainly just because it looks like shit. And then finally, in a piece of good news, we're going to go ahead and talk about the fact that Rotten Tomatoes has reportedly only had certified fresh reviews for the early reviews released for The Last of Us, meaning it is currently sitting at 100%. I'm going to say this very clearly because it's going to be one of those things people easily take the wrong way. I am very excited for The Last of Us show. I think it will be good. I'm hyped. But I also think Rotten Tomatoes is a terrible metric of quality because it is not giving a specific scaled rating, it is a binary one of good, bad. And for that reason, this isn't really telling us that much about The Last of Us show, except for these 26 reviewers went, oh yeah, that was worth watching. And that's not enough for me to get as excited as I'm seeing some people get. This is not a criticism of The Last of Us, it's a criticism of how Rotten Tomatoes handles its review system. I don't like a binary metric of like, for review. That being said though, of course I do take this as a somewhat positive sign. It's just not the make it or break it deal I'm seeing some people treat it as, and I'm still super excited. Way to update. I was double checking to see if it was still at 100% and it's dropped down to 97. What does that mean? Not much, because again, this doesn't really provide any kind of nuance or detail because that's not how Rotten Tomatoes operates. And finally, we're gonna get into the full transparent breakdown of the financials for the recent Kickstarter we did here for the Lawful Times bookmark, which if you're still interested, there are a few still available in the link down below if you'd like to order one late. You can do that. But here is the official breakdown of how exactly the money got divided up. Remember, up front, Kickstarter takes a cut, and then there were the expenses Wraithmark Creative had to front to get the bookmarks actually made. Things like art, production, all that. Getting all the business nitty-gritty out of the way though, at the end of the day, I was gonna pull in around $13,000, Wraithmark Creative was gonna do about $5,000, and Mary Cariola was gonna get about $2,000. For both Wraithmark and I though, that didn't seem like quite enough, so we ended up both taking an additional $1,000 from our pots and putting it directly into the donation that Mary Cariola was gonna get, raising their total percentage to about 20 of the net profit we gained. If I'm being perfectly honest, I just saw that Wraithmark Creative was upping the amount they were giving, and I was like, you're not beating me. You're not beating me on my own charity thing. I gotta match it and make it the same. I am genuinely that competitive. And that's as transparent as I can possibly be. If you'd like to see the receipts for the actual donations being made, bam. And then I can't show you the money being sent to me because I have to hide my personal private info. I hope you understand I'm not going to show you that. But of course, the next Kickstarter is going to be the physical release of A Witch's Sin, the first book in Neon Ghosts. And after that, we are doing a 100% net profits to charity edition of my first 2 books because it's a little addictive to give. But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and go to danielbgreen.com if you want to go ahead and pick up some limited edition Goblin merch and receive a personal thank you video from yours truly. I'm gonna have to record so many videos. Have a good one, y'all. Bye! And of course, I'd like to record a quick shout out to my latest high tier Patreons, Lorinda Browning, Sherb, and Gregory Capauno. Capauno?